Hey, Glovelies, and welcome back to Glove Actually. We are so excited to start our Divisional Roundtable series. This week, we are going to talk all about the American League East. And we're going to be joined by some very special guests who are going to help us break down everything we are looking forward to with the incoming 2026 MLB season fast approaching. But as always, if there's anything you want to hear us talk about here on the podcast, be sure to leave it in the comments and be sure to follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and subscribe to the Glove Actually podcast on YouTube, Spotify, Apple and Amazon podcasts, and be sure to turn on post notifications to stay in the loop when we post new episodes every Wednesday. All right, Glovelies, this week Melissa is going to be your moderator for this roundtable. Take it away, Melissa.
So, all right, Glovelies, traditionally, we would kick things off with our Pookies of the week. However, this week, we are joined today by representative fans of each of the AL East teams. And first, before we even get into our Pookies, we want to have them introduce themselves and which teams they are representing. So let's start off with our Baltimore Orioles fan.
This is the Jackson Holiday fan page. My real name's Joe, and I'm representing my lovely Baltimore Orioles.
Addie, how about you?
So I'm Addie. I am part of the Red Sox UK fan club. So I run the Twitter account at UK Red Sox fans and Instagram. Yeah, Red Sox.
I love it. How cool is it that we have a Red Sox fan with a British accent, guys? All right, Dana, you're up.
Hi there. I am Dana Dentino, fourth generation Yankees fan, raising a fifth, and here to represent the Yankees.
Sandy.
Hey y'all, I'm Sandy. I want to note that I'm from New York City, but I'm representing the Tampa Bay Rays, and I can be found at Sandy and the Rays on Instagram.
And then Patrice.
Hi, I am Patrice coming to you live from Canada, from Toronto to be specific. And no surprise, I am here repping the Toronto Blue Jays.
Super exciting. Thank you guys so much for coming on today. It's going to be so exciting to talk about the AL East. I do think we have a pretty good division, so I can't wait to talk to you guys today. So, all right, but now that we've met one another, let's kick things off with our Pookies of the week. So remember, Pookie is a state of mind. Doesn't necessarily have to be your favorite player or the best player or even someone from your designated team. Pookies are anyone that you have love and fandom for that you want to shout out just for being them. So, Joe, let's start off with you. Who's your Pookie of the week?
I mean, I put a lot of thought into it, but, I'm going to be honest with you, being my name, the Jackson Holiday fan page, and what really got me into this was, again, my man Jackson Holiday, just going out of his way, being nice to me, and all the times that we've met, just modeling what a good ball player should be. And, he's primed for a breakout year. I'm really hoping he does well, so it's not really a question for me. Give me Jackson Holiday.
Yes, love Jackson Holiday. Amazing Pookie. Addie, how about you? Who's your Pookie of the week?
So I thought I'd go outside of, MLB actually. I just wanted to highlight someone who I think is really cool. I know her a little bit, called Laura Harai. So she has represented Great Britain at softball and baseball, and she's also been drafted by the Red Sox for the WPL. So I don't know for sure, but that makes her at least one of the very first British professional baseball players who are female. So just wanted to get her name out there because I think it's really cool what she's doing.
That is a great Pookie. It's very exciting. I did not know that. See, we love it when it's educational episodes and we learn new things on Glove Actually. Dana, how about you? Who's your Pookie of the week?
My Pookie of the week is Luke Weaver, who sadly is no longer on the Yankees and has gone over to the dark side in Queens. He is an amazing guy. He's also incredibly funny, and I will forever be a fan of his. I think he's a fantastic athlete, but he seems like even a greater guy. So
I love it. You know what? Even though they're not on your team anymore, you can still cheer for them and be part of their fandom forever.
Yep.
Sandy, how about you? Who's your Pookie of the week?
It's funny Dana mentioned Luke Weaver. I feel like Rays fans are going to give me a lot of flack about this. I had two former Yankees on my list. One of them was Weaver because he is incredibly funny. The other is Kyle Higashioka, which I think is a very odd specific choice, but I'm more of a recent baseball fan. I only started following in 2021, and I didn't originally have MLB TV, so I was stuck with the local broadcasts and watched a ton of Yankees and Mets games to start, and just for some reason gravitated toward Higgy.
All right. right. I love that. Patrice, how about you? Who's your Pookie of the week?
I'm going to choose center fielder Dalton Varsho as my Pookie of the week.
Okay.
Yeah, because, he's not the one that you often hear talks about the most on the Blue Jays when, people are hyping up players. But he recently, just a few days ago, signed up again for a 1-year contract. Also, he's great in the outfield. Like, he's behind the bat catch, was showing up on a lot of the top threes for a lot of the replays.
Mm-hmm.
And at one point, he was basically hitting a home run at nearly every 10 at-bats. And there's just something about his calm presence and his demeanor and his outward quietness, but his constant stability out in the outfield that I just think makes him really special and underrated. And I think we should pay more attention to Dalton Varsho. So shout out to my Pookie for this week.
I appreciate that. I love that. All right, Glovelies. Well, we want to know, who is your Pookie of the week? Let us know in the comments and be sure to tag your Pookie if you can. All right, everyone. So now we're going to go around and have each of our representatives tell us why they love their team. Since we started the podcast, you've heard Courtney, Hallie, and myself wax poetic about the teams that we love the most. But now that we're going into the 2026 season, we want to make sure that all of the MLB teams get some love on Glove, actually. And we're going to give each of these fans a chance to tell us what they love the most. All right, Joe, let's start with you. Baltimore Orioles, our Baltimore Orioles fan. Who is your favorite current active player?
Okay, so the obvious answer would be Jackson Holliday, but I have another one, actually. I have another one.
All right.
This player is Jordan Westberg. When I actually had the chance to meet him once, and I had an amazing conversation with Jordan Westberg about how, I played baseball my entire life, and he just talked about dealing with adversity and, like, the mental side of that, and, like, how coming back from injury, I think it was fall of 24, and just the way he talked and the way he carried himself just, like, really left an impact on me. Like, I wasn't expecting to have, like, a deep conversation with him, but I did, and it surprised me. So, you talk about a guy who's real good at what he does and doesn't always get his flowers. It's definitely Jordan Westberg. And I'd say, he encapsulates what I want an Oriole to be. He's just an awesome human being.
I love that answer, and I totally agree with you. I hope he stays healthy this year.
Me too.
All right, which player are you the most excited about this year?
This is going to be an obvious answer. I'd say Pete Alonso. I'm just really excited because I feel like this is what we've been waiting for, in the sense of finally making a splash in the free agent market. Pete Alonso is a guy who's going to take you to the World Series. He's a phenomenal baseball player. I get good vibes from him, and I really think that with this young core of Orioles, I think he'll mesh perfectly. And even bringing on Taylor Ward, I'd say with those two big home run hitters, those are the two guys I'm most excited to see. And
what do you think is the biggest obstacle facing your team this season, and what are 1 or 2 moves you'd make to overcome that obstacle?
I'd say it's pitching health. All these guys in the front office have a job for a reason. They are incredibly smart. Things I'm really worried about is our pitching and our health. I'm concerned about what they do with the bullpen and guys like Cade Povich. We've had some bright spots, like Cade Stroud, who came up. He was phenomenal. I love Cade Stroud.
I agree. Pitching is definitely where we need some help this season, and I really hope we come out a lot better this season than last season.
Me too.
What's your favorite thing about the Orioles?
My favorite thing about the Orioles, I'd say, is the fan base. I haven't encountered as many unique fan bases as the Orioles. There's always some sort of story. The Orioles aren't a team you see on TV and you're like, yeah, I'm going to be an Orioles fan. Being an Orioles fan is a bit of like, it's a roller coaster of emotions. It's not for the faint of heart. And like, whenever I see another Orioles fan, like especially on away games, I just go up and talk with them, and it's so cool. Just like, oh, where in Maryland are you from? I mean, they all have the coolest stories ever. And even when I'm at my work, I work at for the AAA Red Sox team, the Worcester Red Sox. I work in ballpark operations, and when I have like an Orioles shirt on, one time a teacher came up to me, he's like, oh my gosh, I'm from Maryland, like my dad did this with the Orioles. And like, that person will come up to you and you'll have like a really cool conversation. I also love during the national anthem when we yell, oh, that is awesome. I love it.
So would you say that's the unique thing about the stadium experience that you love?
Oh, yeah, without a doubt.
All right, so what's a 2026 giveaway that you're excited about?
I'd say the Orioles hockey jersey. That is really cool. Me personally, I'm a diehard Bruins fan, but the hockey jerseys look amazing. And, obviously, I'm going to say the Jackson Holiday bobblehead. That's great. I love incorporating the dog. That was really cute. That's definitely...
Yeah, it is. Oh, yeah. All right, what was your most memorable moment of the 2025 season?
I'd probably say this was a cool story personally for me, not necessarily on the field. I just graduated high school this past year. For my high school graduation present, we were having my graduation party at Fenway when the Orioles were in town. My dad gets seats right by the Orioles dugout. Earlier, like a year ago, I was with Jackson because his family was in Worcester. My dad had them in his suite. I got to meet Jackson. So I'm sitting in my seats with my friends. It's a little before the game. Jackson walks up the dugout stairs. He's like, "Hey, Joe, what's up?" I turn my head. I'm like, "You know my name?" I was stunned. That was the moment that sparked me to create the Jackson Holiday fan page. It was crazy. Like, I've had a couple cool moments like that. I was shocked.
I love it. And you guys can see why he's got his Jackson Holiday fan page now.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks, Joe, for all the insight on the Orioles. Addie, you want to give us some insight on the Red Sox now?
Yeah, sure.
Awesome. All right. Who is your favorite current active player?
So I always hesitate to say who my favorite player is because my friends always joke that it's a jinx, and I always pick like slightly under the radar, middle of the road players who are just perfect trade bait come halfway through the season. For me at the moment, it's Tristan Cassis, if he even counts as active player, given how much he's injured at the moment. But if you ever like go watch his interviews on Nesson, whatever, where he's been injured, he's been sat in the dugout, they're wild. You don't know what he's going to say. The broadcasters are trying to get him back on track. He's telling stories about his dad getting arrested at his little league game. Like, it's go check him out. So you just never know what he's going to do next. He sunbathes in the outfield before every game.
I love it. Every team's got to have one of those players. Yeah. They're just kind of off the wall. I love it. I'll have to check him out. I love it.
Like, if you watch the Red Sox documentary that was on Netflix, the start of last season, he's in that. Great, awesome. Great off the field, all right on the field. Hoping he'll be better this year.
Which player are you the most excited about this year?
So the big three, as we've been calling them. So Roman Anthony, Marcelo Meyer, and perhaps a lesser extent these days, Christian Campbell. So they're the sort of big three prospects last year. They all broke into the major leagues last year. So I'm just really excited to see what they can do with full season in the major leagues, Roman Anthony in particular. So hopefully we're building the team around this young core. Yeah.
What do you think is the biggest obstacle facing the Red Sox this season? And what are one or two moves that you would make to help overcome that obstacle?
Can I say the front office?
Yeah, I mean, I would say at one point we would have said the same thing too.
I mean, with the Red Sox, the fact we didn't re-sign Alex Bregman is just unacceptable. That's just outrageous. It feels like every free agent out there, the Red Sox are in the conversation. The Red Sox are actively pursuing them. They're front runners for signing them, and then it just never happens. They have no follow through. It looks like Marcelo Meyer will probably be our starting third baseman. We have this habit of just taking people who are athletic and being like, oh, well, they can just play that position. They've never played it at the major leagues, but we'll give them a shot. It gets frustrating. We do have a surplus of outfielders, so perhaps trading one of our young, good outfielders would get us something, but I don't think the market's there for some of them. So,
well, here's to hoping. There's still some free agents out there that. Oh my goodness! All right, so what's your favorite thing about the Red Sox?
I think it's just the history, the wealth of it. So, like, I didn't grow up with baseball. I got into it when I was like 13, 14, and I'm still learning about all the lore and the history. And it's such a passionate fan base, and they have a really long memory. Yeah, I think it's just the passion and all of the lore there, all of the history, all of the iconic moments and players. There's just a lot to get into.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's definitely one of the richest histories in all of baseball. So what have you've been to some of the games, right? Okay. Yeah. So what's one of the unique things about your stadium's fan experience and an upcoming 2026 giveaway that you are excited about?
Well, so Fenway Park speaks for itself, really, doesn't it? It's Fenway Park. It's again the history, knowing like the red seat, all of the sort of iconic things that come with Fenway Park, and it's not like any other ballpark. I've not been to too many. I think I'm still a long way off the 30, but Fenway's something else. And on a home game, this last season in particular, fans get into it on a Friday night. It's unreal. It's unlike any other sporting experience that I've ever been to. The Red Sox haven't announced too many giveaways yet, so this season there's not too many that I've got on my radar. Last season, they did a fourth wing giveaway.
I was going to say, you guys did have the best giveaway of the 2025 season. So, hands down.
Yeah. So, if they repeat that, I'm looking because I'd like to get back over I'm either thinking Fenway or I might try and go see the Red Sox in Toronto.
That's exciting. What was your most memorable moment of the 2025 season?
So I've got one for like on the field, and then I've got a personal highlight. So on the field, I think it has to be the Abreu Rafaela catch. So Abreu jumped into the stands to catch the ball. It bounced out of his glove right into Saddam Rafaela's glove, who was backing him up. There's such a fluke. The joy on their faces when they realised that they'd made it work. And then personally, so I went out to Fenway in April, and I met some really nice people in the stands, and somehow they managed to get me on the pitching mound at Fenway Park.
Oh, that's very exciting.
Yeah.
I love that. Not everybody gets to do that. What's your favorite sports memory of the team?
So I live in the UK. We're 5 hours behind Boston.
I know. You're champ.
Ahead of Boston even. So the 2018 World Series, I've watched most of the games. I have like a crazy sleep schedule, so I do watch most of the games. But the 2018 World Series, the 18-inning game where Nate Eovaldi came in, was the hero of the game. It lasted for, I don't even know how long. It was the morning of my birthday. I was staying at my parents' house. My mum decided to stay up and watch the whole thing with me, thinking she was committing to 3 hours. It was 7:30 in the morning before I was able to go to bed. I was absolutely shattered. We lost that game, but it was just so iconic. We went on to win the World Series, so it had a happy ending overall. So that one's always one that sort of sticks in my mind.
Oh my goodness. I can imagine why. That's true fandom right there. Oh my goodness. Well, thank you. Dana, you want to talk to us about the Yankees?
Yes.
Yes, I do. Absolutely.
Yes, I do.
All right, Dana, who's your favorite current active player?
I'd have to say Ben Rice. I was thinking about somebody else who's been a long time favorite of mine, but he really has stepped up and just does whatever the Yankees ask of him. He just seems like the nicest guy. He's a lot of fun with the fans, and I think he has really stepped up for what they needed.
I love it. We love a nice guy.
Yes.
Which player are you most excited about for this season?
I have to go back to Garrett Cole. He was, injured last year, and he's such a big part of the team, and he is, the iconic, kid in the stands, Yankees fan today, tomorrow, always, and you could see how much he missed it. I really hope that he is healthy and can come back and just do great things.
Yeah. It's always a bummer when you have that pitcher who gets injured and then they're out for a year. We had a couple of those this year. What do you think is the biggest obstacle facing the Yankees this season, and what are 1 to 2 moves that you would make to overcome that obstacle?
Well, my 20-year-old son will be happy that I'm saying this out loud. I think Brian Cashman is the biggest obstacle to our team. That aside, injuries, they were all just injured. I think that we really lack depth, and the thing that's most frustrating to me is the Yankees they literally just did something today before we started recording. We got a pitcher, but we've done nothing else. Miami Marlins traded Ryan Weathers to the Yankees. We gave away 4 prospects. Nothing against him, but I don't know how that's going to do much for us when we have nobody to, hit the ball. So it'll be interesting.
And then when you get the smaller players, you're like, great, where's my big
Yeah,
announce?
my son is like, oh, his dad pitched for the Yankees. I'm like, in 96, that does nothing for me right now. So thanks.
That was 30 years ago. I love it. What's your favorite thing about the Yankees?
Like I said, I'm a 4th generation. All of my memories as a kid, both my grandparents loved the Yankees, my father, my uncles. It's just always been in my DNA. And it's funny because when I was a kid, the Yankees sucked in the mid 70s, right? They just were awful. And my father would talk about Mickey Mantle and all that. And I was like, oh, I hope I get to see teams like that. Now it's the reverse, where I've seen them win so much. And my 20-year-old is like, oh my God, how old am I going to be when they get to the World Series and win? So it's all the lore. It's very much like the Red Sox with the history of the team and all the ghosts that are around. So
between the Red Sox and the Yankees, that's where most of the history is at right there. So it's good. 2 good teams to follow. What's a unique thing about your stadium's experience that you love, and what's an upcoming 2026 giveaway that you are excited about?
They haven't announced them yet for the Yankees. I just checked. Still not updated. Yeah.
Oh, that's a bummer.
I know, which I always laugh though, because they always do the bobbleheads, and I don't know how everybody else feels, but they all look like the same guy who is not a baseball player in a different uniform. But the stadium experience, the thing that I really love, I was a ticket holder before this stadium. And I love the Yankees, but it was just a really hard stadium to be comfortable in. And I love that the new stadium, it feels old, but everything is brand new, but they honor the team and the lore. I mean, to see the inside of it, the way that it looks, and the museum, I just love that.
Nice. That's awesome. What's your most memorable moment of the 2025 season?
I have to go back, and I apologize to our British friend with the Red Sox, but it was Cam Schlittler's wild card performance. I mean, the kid, 8 or more innings, 0 walks, and 12 strikeouts, and that was amazing to see that kid pitch as well as he did and really step up. But I thought he did a great job, and I'm really hoping I hope it's not a one-off. I hope he continues to do that well for us.
How about your favorite sports memory of the Yankees overall?
So in 2009, we were living in North Carolina, and a friend of ours called us up the day of Game 6 and said, "How would you like to go and see the Yankees tonight?" So my kids were babies. My husband and I threw them in the car, drove 8 hours, literally kicked them out of the van. We made it to the new Yankee Stadium, and we got to our seats as the national anthem was playing, and we were there for when they won the World Series. I have never cried like that. It was amazing.
That is
amazing.
A great memory. Awesome. Oh my goodness. Well, thanks for all that insight on the Yankees. Sandy, are you ready to talk to us about the Rays?
Always. I am always ready to talk about the Rays.
Always. Let's see how deep this fandom goes. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Who is your favorite current active player?
Okay, so I wish this was my answer because Brandon Lau used to be. Now I'm devastated he's no longer on the team. I was dreading that he'd be traded for probably the last 3 seasons. I knew it was coming. So since I can't go with him, I have to say Shane McClanahan, who I've also missed like crazy though, because he's been out. He underwent Tommy John surgery, and I think he's expected to be back this season. It just seemed like forever ago since he last pitched, but he's really captivating on the mound, and I am super selective about which players' jerseys I have. Shane is one of them.
You're not going to spend the money on just anybody,
That's what I'm saying.
Money out for the jersey. You're going to get somebody that is meaningful to you. Which player are you most excited about for the 2026 season?
I'm most excited though for Junior Caminero, who also had like a huge breakout season for the Rays last year. He hit 45 home runs. It was his first full season. Also had 110 RBIs, and that was like really historic at only 22 years old for him. I feel like also what's undervalued is like the intangibles. He recognizes that he's emerged as a superstar for the team, and he's really looking to set a positive example for younger fans. He always talks about how dedicated he is to improving his game and is spending a lot of his offseason doing that. So I feel like he's made a really, really positive impression on the team, especially being his age, and he just seems really mature beyond his years.
Awesome. What do you think is the biggest obstacle facing the Rays this season, and what are 1 or 2 moves you would make to overcome that obstacle?
It seems like there's a bunch of holes to patch with the team right now. The offense is definitely taking a hit without Brandon. They also have had historic issues with their catcher position, because it might start off with Palacios at second on opening day, and I know they might be making more moves to kind of like have a couple of guys at that position. I don't know if they're going to go through with one of the bigger names on the market. I know Brandon Donovan on the Cardinals is talked about a lot. For catchers, they might be looking at a couple of guys, but then what's talked about a bit less is the rotation depth at the moment, because they also dealt Shane Baz, and there might be some more moves for the rotation as well. I know they signed Steven Matz, who's more of a veteran. We'll see how things pan out with some other moves.
Nice. Well, you did get Cedric Mullins, so I hope he works out well for you guys. So we can
Rays fans are so excited about that.
Yeah. What is your favorite thing about the Rays?
I would say because we're a small market team, I feel like it's a pretty common perception that the team are underdogs, although there are some really interesting caveats to this. So even though there is this like underdog persona about them, the Rays are still like pretty respected as a competitive analytics heavy team, and they're recognized as a team that can do really well even with fewer resources. And that's been the case not like the last couple of seasons, but definitely in recent years that they've gotten that perception. I feel like it's a common meme that you shouldn't make a trade with the Rays because they're always going to end up on top.
What's the unique thing about your stadium's fan experience And what giveaway are you most excited about for the 2026 season?
Yeah, so I know I mentioned I'm from New York, but I have been to the Trop a few times, and I was at Steinbrenner Field last season as well. I know it gets a lot of hate, a really bad rap as an indoor stadium. So personally, I do find the Trop charming. My favorite thing about the Trop is what they do with the lights. So after a Rays win, it flashes orange in there, and it's really pretty when it's a Devil Rays day too. So like the lights kind of shimmer between the really gorgeous pastel blue, green, and purple that represent the Devil Rays colors, and it's just honestly really stunning. I feel like everyone should make it out to the Trop before the Trop is longer a thing.
Yes, I have been told by certain people who are on this podcast that I need to make it to the Trop at some point.
The giveaway promotion schedule is not out yet, similar to the Yankees.
You guys do?
I will say though, especially as someone who lives out of state, I don't pay too much attention to the giveaways. I mean, I try to make it down there if it makes sense for my schedule, and just because I enjoy being a supporter of the home team as opposed to watching them on the road sometimes. But I am curious to see what they're going to do when they're honoring Evan Longoria for his Hall of Fame induction ceremony. There might be something they do for a promotion there. I will also be there for that series. So
nice.
Looking forward to that.
That's exciting. Okay, tell us what your most memorable moment of the 2025 season was.
Obviously, the Rays had a very mid-season. I feel like they were in and out of hovering around 500 for most of the year. But I actually had a winning record for all the games that I went to, which is uncommon for me. And my record last season was 9-4. So I was really happy about that.
That's great. My record was not so great this year. So what is your favorite sports memory of the Rays?
Yeah, so this has more to do with my origin story as a baseball fan, and I get this question a lot when I tell people that I'm a Tampa Bay Rays fan and I live in New York, as you can imagine. So I really don't think there's a moment that's going to top this in my lifetime. It has to be Game 4 of the 2020 World Series. Like, a lot of us came out of the pandemic with random interests or obsessions. Mine was baseball and the Tampa Bay Rays. I was just flipping through what was on TV that day because I was super bored. Came across this game, tuned in around the 8th or the 9th inning. It was super late. A very tight game though, so that colored me intrigued, and I just kept watching and got to see Brett Phillips with that big walk-off hit and Randy Rosarena coming across home. I would say like it was weeks after that series that I just kept watching the replay. That's what got me in my lifetime and like my time following this team. I really don't think I'm gonna have a different answer than
No, that's a great answer. And that's what we're here for. Why do you love the Rays? So it is important for us to know that. I love that. Well, thank you for that. And then Patrice, last team, Toronto.
I am ready. I'm ready.
Are you ready?
I am.
All right, your favorite current active player.
Well, in a nod to my fellow esteemed podcast guest, Addie, who would, choose Bo if it was not a Red Sox player. Bo is my favorite active player. I don't know. I just love him. There's something about his energy. I love the quiet player who just delivers on the field. And in, true diva form, I love a celeb or a player that is just like, my personal business is my business. Worry about the work that I do and, keep my life out of your mouth. And I really appreciate that for him. But I just think that he's such a solid player. And truly, I don't think anybody is as hard on Bo as he is on himself. And I just think that he deserves all the love and attention.
Which player are you most excited about this year? One of the players I'm most excited about to see this year is on your team. So I'm curious if you say.
Okay. I look forward to hearing who that player is. For me, I'm going to go with two.
Okay.
So it's a tie between Ernie Clement and Nathan Lucas.
Yeah.
I think for me, Ernie, for one, really came off the 2025 run as I think a real favorite among the fan base, both in Toronto and Canada, and also across the MLB, just for the level of authenticity that he was bringing to the game and his dynamic with the fellow players. And I think, somebody who had kind of been like up and down for a while, not fully being a permanent fixture on the team. He's a utility player. He doesn't have that level of like, Bo is shortstop, Vladdy is first. You don't have that association with him in a specific spot. And I just think he does such a great job everywhere that he's plays. And I'm just excited for him to hopefully get a more consistent stretch on the field and as a full-on member of the team. And then with Nathan Lucas, like this was a player who had been in the minors for like 10 years and had really been thinking about like, I don't know what my plan B is going to be, but at some point, you know, do I call it? Do I just say like, this is it for me with baseball and move on and find something else? So for him to like get called up and then make such an impact on the 2025 Jays team, that's beautiful. Like you can't write a better scene than that.
Yeah.
Like this is movie level. And so I'm really excited to see how he shows up in the 2026 season. And hopefully he also is a member of the team for a prolonged period of time.
Yeah.
So I'm pumped for both of them.
I love that. That's exciting. What do you think is the biggest obstacle facing the Blue Jays this upcoming season? And what's one or two moves you would make to overcome that obstacle?
Yeah, at the end of the season, I would have for sure said that the pitching was probably the weakest spot or the obstacle that I was seeing. You know, we would have some of our starters who were kind of inconsistent at times or unable to really take it to like the 5 to 7 innings and hold down the fort to kind of keep those runs at bay. But I would love to see some consistency with the starters to really allow us not to wear out the bullpen as quickly. And you really see a lot of the weaknesses in the bullpen where they're allowing runs to be scored later on in the game, even when the starters are able to kind of hold it down for a while. But in the offseason so far, we've had like 3 signings. So we have Kazuma Okamoto, Cody Ponce, and Dylan Cease. So clearly, you know, me and the front office are aligned. We're on the same page here. So I'm really excited to see how these new signings on the pitching side translate to our success in 2026. Because I feel like the rest of it is pretty solid.
Yeah. I love that's like the theme across the board for all of us, guys. It's pitching.
Right. Also, they really need to pay attention to not pitching directly down the middle all the time. Please play around with your strike zone.
Yes. Amen to that. Oh my goodness. What's your favorite thing about the Blue Jays?
I think in general, historically, my favorite thing is the fan base. I feel like there's a real willingness to support. And I think there's something really special about that. And I think the camaraderie, you know, I'm like, my Shaylas, they're like out there looking like they're having fun, playing with one another. There seems to be this really intrinsic level of respect and care and consideration for the team's success, for each other, the camaraderie.
I love that. That's definitely how I feel about the O's too. So I get that. What's the unique thing about your stadium's experience and an upcoming 2026 giveaway that you're excited about?
Yeah, so we also have not released the 2026 giveaways yet.
Yeah, we're ahead of the game, I guess.
Apparently, I've seen jokes online that they're like, we're waiting to see how much money we have after signing everybody to really decide how many bobbleheads they need to roll out and for which players. So maybe that's part of it. So we'll stay tuned for that. I am excited though, because the Rogers Center, I guess if we're being official, or the Sky Dome, as we like to still call it, we've done a lot of renovations in the last few years. So there have been a lot more spaces that are dedicated to like fan experiences, fans hanging out. And so I'm excited to actually just check those out in person and see how these renos play out.
Nice. That's exciting.
Yeah.
What's your most memorable moment of the 2025 season?
I mean, it was all so dull that I can barely remember what even happened in 2025. Like, where do I begin? For sure, the 18-inning World Series game.
That was insane.
That was wild. The one game that I decided to go outside and watch with friends somewhere else, and every few innings we'd be like, should we call it? Should we go home? And we're like, no, surely the next time people are up to bat, surely this is going to be the last inning. Cut to like me leaving downtown Toronto at like 1:30 in the morning. The game is still going. By the time I got home, still going. I don't think the game ended until almost like 2:30 or 3.
I gave up.
Yeah, at some point I was just like, okay, I guess I'll find out whatever happens when I wake up. So that was definitely, you know, a big memory for that. I think too, like honestly, just watching so much of it with my dad, for, you know, my dad being a fan for so long, and the 92, 93 World Series were not part of my conscious memory. So being able to see something so close to the high point of that team's history and share some of the highlights with him was really exciting. And I think I've also just made a lot of like new friends and met new people by like fangirling about the Blue Jays out loud. So, you know, maybe I'm channeling Ernie a little bit here and saying that maybe the memorable moments were the friends that we made along the way.
Oh, that's beautiful. I love that. All right, last question. What's your favorite sports memory of the Blue Jays?
Ooh, okay. I think from the 2025 season, I'll say Alejandro Kirk's grand slam to clinch the AL East. Because I think he's also another player that I think does not get his flowers as often as he should.
Yeah.
And then in Jays history, I think probably the fun of counting up those never-ending Jose Bautista home runs in that 2015 season, where it felt like every time that man was up to bat, another home run was like going into the stands. And that was exciting.
I love it. Well, thank you, Patrice, for giving us insight into the Blue Jays.
Of course.
Everybody. It's so nice to hear why everybody loves each one of their teams. All right. We're going to move on and dive into our top 5 of the week, which we're going to do a little bit different this week. So this top 5 is going to be, instead of doing an actual top 5, we picked some categories that we hit in some of our previous episodes. And we're going to have everyone name their favorite for this category. So we're going to start off with our favorite ballpark snack. Joe, what's your favorite ballpark snack?
This is going to sound really weird. So it's Chick-fil-A because the Orioles spring training home has a Chick-fil-A in the park. So I got a Chick-fil-A sandwich at a baseball game. But in general, it has to be chicken tenders and fries, which honestly surprises people. You know, hot dog, hamburger, love those. Those are great. But I love chicken. I'm like Wade Boggs in the sense where Wade Boggs loved chicken. I love chicken too. Oh, so good.
All right. That's a good choice. Camden's got some good chicken tenders. We'll say that. Addie, how about you? Favorite ballpark snack?
I like the classic Cracker Jacks. We don't get them over here. So whenever I go over, I buy bags and bring them back. So Cracker Jacks are one of those giant refillable drinks.
Nice. Love it. Dana, how about you?
Dirty water dogs all day long.
Dirty water hot dogs. I love that you said the dirty water hot dog. I don't hear that very often anymore. Oh, man. Sandy, how about you?
So I considered saying I don't have one because I honestly don't eat a lot of ballpark food. It's kind of a running joke with people that I mostly boycott ballpark food. I'm like way more of a specific eater. But my answer will be the garlic fries at Yankee Stadium because I do get them quite frequently. That was also the very first thing I ever got when I visited Yankee Stadium for the first time.
Nice. Look at that. Shout out to Yankee Stadium, Dana. Love it. All right, Patrice, how about you? Who's your favorite ballpark snack?
I would go with either a classic popcorn or, much like Joe, the fries and chicken strips are actually very, very good at a ball game, and they last you for a while. So you're full as you're enjoying the game. And because I'm allergic to peanuts, I can't do the nuts or the Cracker Jacks. Nothing for this fan. So womp 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 that.
They're easy to carry around and deal with when
they really are.
Stand up and down too. So I love it. Good choice. Good choice.
Thank you.
All right. Next, we're going to move on to, are you ready for this? Sexiest MLB mascot. Okay. This is usually very telling. So let's see where we land. Joe, sexiest MLB mascot.
You know,
Let's go, Joe.
I am so biased out of my mind. It has to be the Oriole, not because what you think, not for the reason you think, but my dad, when he worked for the Orioles, he was behind the ceremony of reintroducing the bird. So at where the Orioles used to play, Memorial Stadium, my dad had a giant hatching ceremony where the Oriole bird hatched. He wrote the ceremony for that, as crazy as it sounds. So without a doubt, has to be the Oriole bird. Great mascot. Love him.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the reasons why I said he was pretty sexy too. All right, Addie, sexiest MLB mascot.
So I cannot justify going for Wally the Green Monster because that is he's got a lot of good traits, but sexy is not one of them. So I have chosen the Royal Slugger just because the guy's Jack.
I mean, if you had listened to that episode, I agreed with you.
Definitely got some crap under there.
I love it. All right, Dana, how about you? Sexiest MLB mascot.
So as a Yankees fan, I have to say we're totally against mascots. But having said that, I love the Philly Fanatic, and I think men and women that are funny are very sexy. And the stuff that he pulls on during games against, the other fans, I think he's fantastic. So I'm going to go with the Philly Fanatic.
I love it. The Philly Fanatic. All right. Sandy, how about you?
Okay, honestly, I had zero stake in this, but I was told the only correct answer is Mrs. Met. So I'll give a shout out to her and one of my home city teams.
All right. Mrs. Met was on our list at one point too. Respect to Mrs. Met. All right, Patrice, how about you?
I am going to join Dana, and I am going to co-sign the Philly Fanatic because truly, listen, sexy is a state of mind, and sometimes chaos is sexy.
Yes.
And Philly Fanatic is a chaos gremlin, and quite frankly, I don't know, you can't go wrong with that. We need more whimsy in the world. We need more joy. And the chaos of the Philly fanatic is going to bring you ample amounts of both.
That is very true. I love it. Philly fanatic didn't make any of our lists. I love that he's getting some love today. I love it. All right, next question. Favorite silly goose MLB player? Joe.
Oh, this isn't even a question. It's Colton Cowser. He, oh my gosh, do I have a story about him? So I was working in the clubhouse while Norfolk was in Worcester, and it's late. Like, clubhouse workers, they work late. So I bat boyed the game, and then I was like scrubbing cleats. It's like maybe 1 o'clock in the morning. Guys are straggling. Then all of a sudden I hear someone scream. I think someone's hurt. So the AAA team's called the Norfolk Tide. So they have a trident for the player of the game, and it's Colton Cowser in his underwear chasing one of his teammates with this trident, yelling at the top of his lungs. Without a doubt, it has to be Colton Cowser for me.
Oh, he was my number one too, Joe. He was.
Yeah, great. Love Cowser.
Addie, how about you? Favorite silly goose player?
I'm going former Red Sox player Kike Hernandez, because I have never seen that man answer an interview question seriously.
That is very true. Oh my God. I love it. Dana, how about you?
Yep, I'm going with Kike. I've never seen him answer a question, with a straight face, and he's always on camera, even when it's not pointed at him in the dugout. It's fantastic.
I know. So true. Oh my goodness. Sandy, how about you?
Yeah, so Dana and I already talked about him a couple of times during Pookie of the Week, but my answer is Luke Weaver, because he's hilarious. The Yankees have done these short video reels where they ask the players a question as they enter the stadium, and I was watching just for Weaver and how he would answer, or just for his overall behavior on those clips, not because I care about the Yankees, but because I was excited to see what Weaver was doing.
I love that. Those videos, sometimes they really bring out the players' personalities. I think that's where Adley Rutschman shines, is those crazy videos. Patrice, how about you? Favorite silly goose player?
Yeah, I too am going to have to go with Kike Hernandez. And I didn't want to admit it until, the World Series were officially done, because I felt like I would be a jinx if I showed any real appreciation for this man during that 7-game run. But yeah, he just seems like a real delight. He seems funny. I went down a rabbit hole of reading about him and things like pretending that he didn't speak English for a prolonged period of time. In response to a question from front office about him. I'm like, that's lovable chaos. And clearly, with my mascot choice, clearly I'm in favor of that. And so I really appreciate the silly goose that is Kike Hernandez.
I love that. Look at that. Kike taking 3 out of 5. Love it. All right. Last question, and it's the hardest one. Are you ready? If you played baseball for your team, what would your walk-up song be? Joe.
So I'd get in trouble for this one with Ryan Mountcastle. I'd have to take this up with him. Dear Maria by All Time Low. Such a great song. So hopefully Ryan Mountcastle lets me off the hook, but
I'm sure he doesn't mind sharing.
I hope so.
Addie, what would your walk-up song be?
So I'd want to be a closer, and I would want Taylor Swift Ready for It, the boom, boom, boom. Are you ready for it? And the graphics they could have on the screen as you're doing that. I think that would be iconic.
Yes, I love it. Dana, how about you?
I would pick Sugar Sweet by Benson Boone. I say that because it's a fun song, but it's about someone who seems sweet, but they were manipulative. So that would be a little, I'm looking at you, Juan Soto, when that comes up and I get to play.
I love it. She's got a plan with her song.
Yep.
Sandy, how about you?
So I had my answer to this question for a few years, because when I started a new job in 2022, this question was on my new hire questionnaire, and my answer hasn't changed in all this time, because I just feel so strongly about this being my walk-up song. I would go with Don't Need Nothing by Allie and AJ. It's such an upbeat song. It just gets me into the mood, fills me with a ton of energy, even when I'm feeling particularly down or unenergetic.
I love it. Patrice, how about you?
I think that if you are in sports, you need to bring a level of, I am exactly who I think I am, to your walk-up and to your general performance energy. And for that reason, I'm going to choose Diva by Beyonce, because I think that that's exactly the energy that song brings. And she is exactly who she thinks she is. And I think we should all channel that in our sports careers that we're clearly planning here today.
I love that. I love the walk-up songs, guys. Awesome. Well, before we sign off, we have our regular media segment, which I usually do some recommended media, but this week the guests are going to bring us their recommended media. So, all right, Joe, hit us. What you got?
So my media is again related to my team. It's the book called The Last Manager, and it's about Earl Weaver. And Earl Weaver, for Oriole fans and for baseball fans who know him, was one of a kind. Earl just had a certain way of going about things. And you get in that book like some of like what went on in Earl's head. And Earl was just unfiltered, classical baseball guy.
Nice. I love it. Representing the nonfiction, because you're not going to get a lot of nonfiction with me, guys.
Nope.
I love the fiction. So thank you for holding down the nonfiction front. I appreciate that. All right, Addie, how about you?
So my recommendation is much lower in tone than that one. I've gone for, over here the film is called The Perfect Catch, but I think in America it's Fever Pitch. So it stars Drew Barrymore and Jimmy Fallon. It's a rom-com. It is based on the Red Sox, and it's based on a British film originally, so that's why they had to change the name over here so it doesn't clash. As someone who watches most of the games in a different time zone, I really relate to the main character who baseball rules his life. So good fun.
I love that. Perfect Boston Red Sox movie. Dana, how about you?
So I'm going the route of the 1993 classic Groundhog Day, because it's a time loop where existential dread and pain is central to the theme. And every night, Yankee fans go to sleep thinking something's going to happen, and we wake up in the morning and Sonny and Cher are playing on the radio again, and nothing has changed. And I feel like everybody who roots for the Yankees will totally get that.
Oh my God, that is perfect. Sandy, how about you?
Okay, so it should come to no one's surprise that there's barely any literature or media pertaining to the Rays, but I branched out a little bit and I considered the team's city. I went with a book that's titled 100 Years of Baseball on St. Petersburg's Waterfront, How the Game Helped Shape a City. So this was a book that I bought on my most recent trip to Tampa last year. And I was, of course, like skimming several options in the store, and I found this one really interesting. It's about the role of baseball in attracting tourism and making St. Pete like a premier tourist destination. And it covers how baseball evolved over time in the city as well.
Wow, I love it. Look at you guys with the nonfiction bringing it in. Thank you. All right, Patrice, how about you?
I am going and taking us solidly back to fiction. So as a Canadian repping the lone Canadian team in the MLB and a woman of culture, I would be remiss not to hype up Heated Rivalry and the series now on Crave. As you know, all the Canadians are out here when they say HBO, we pop out from the woodwork. And so for that reason, I'm going with Heated Rivalry. It is hot. There is yearning. There is teamwork. There is camaraderie. And, to borrow from another Canadian icon, Celine Dion, of course, it's about the power of love.
Amen.
And for that reason, I am bringing a Heated Rivalry to the discourse.
Hollander. Yes. Hollander. I can't wait to wax poetic about Heated Rivalry. Today's not that day, but all right. Well, thank you everybody for your recommendations. Those were amazing. I want to take a moment before we wrap up to shout out all of our amazing fan representatives for joining us today. Where can our listeners find you if they want to follow more of your content? Joe, let's start with you.
So obviously I'm really only an Instagram page with Jackson_holiday_fan page. Also, I run a Providence College hockey account called Providence Puck Report, and that's sheerly not as funny, but like on the topic of hockey.
Awesome. Thanks, Joe. Addie, how about you?
So you can find me on @UK Red Sox Fans on Twitter and Instagram. And we've also got quite a big Facebook group, which is Boston Red Sox Fans of the UK. And we also do our own podcast, if anyone wants to add to their podcast listening, called Beantown Brits. So that's on all the usual streaming sites. So yeah, come and check us out. And if you're not a Red Sox fan, most MLB teams also have their own UK accounts. So if you're interested in just finding out, discovering that there's baseball fans across the world, then definitely go and look for your team's accounts as well.
Super cool. I love that. Dana, how about you?
I'm at Dana Dentino on Instagram and Threads, and I'm not as organized as everybody, but I just love talking baseball with everybody. So it's a lot of fun. I can't wait to see what happens this season, and I hope that I will get to talk to everybody here.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Sandy, how about you?
Yeah, so I'm at Sandy and the Rays on Instagram. I am also the creator of a project called Trop in the Name of Love. That's a website that collects personal stories from fans about their experiences at the Trop. And I had created this after the damage caused by Hurricane Milton in 2024. So you can find that at tropinthenameoflove.com and at Trop in the Name of Love on Instagram, as well as trop_name of love on Twitter. But I do love the project a lot and consider the website to be like a little baby of mine.
Nice. Patrice, how about you?
Yeah, so for long form content, I can be found on Substack. I think if you just search Patrice, I will come up. Or Sonically Sincere, which is my newsletter where I talk about the relationship between music, life, love, and how we kind of, I don't know, make sense of life and ourselves. And on Instagram, I can be found at With Pleasure Patrice, and that's spelled with a Y, Patrice. And it's really just about talking more about the things that bring joy in life and the things that bring me happiness and whimsy. And of course, the Blue Jays will be featured on that at some point as well.
Excellent. Love it. Well, Glovelies, that'll do it for this episode of Glove Actually. Once again, I'd love to thank our fabulous panel of AL East fans for joining us, and thank you for listening. Be sure to follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and subscribe to the Glove Actually podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Amazon Podcasts. And be sure to turn on post notifications to stay in the loop for when we post new episodes. So before we sign off, what are you looking forward to the most this week in the world of baseball? Who do you hope has fun this week? Joe.
You know, in this off season, you know, we're in the thick of it right now, where it seems like, you know, we're just getting a lot of random different news. I'd say who I'd hope to have most fun this week, give me my friend Gunnar Henderson.
Addie, how about you?
I hope Harry Ford has fun this week. So he's a Nationals catcher, but he's just confirmed to be on GB's team for the World Baseball Classic, which is quite a big deal for us. It's only the second time we've qualified. Last time uniforms, the letters were peeling off. That's the level of baseball in this country. So to have a major league player on the roster is very exciting. So.
That is exciting. Awesome. I can't wait to see how you guys do. That's great. Dana, how about you?
I will pick Oswaldo Cabrera. He is the cutest, patootiest on the Yankees and just the nicest kid. He recently got married and he had a horrific injury during a game last May, and he's finally on the mend, and I can't wait to see him just have some fun and get back out there.
That's awesome. I love it. Sandy, how about you?
I know a lot of Rays fans are eager to get updates on like the new ballpark situation and the search for the new ballpark site. I heard a rumor we might get some developments on that next week, so cross your fingers, and that is like in a positive way. In terms of who I hope has fun, everyone on the team, and I hope they're enjoying the off season in warmer weather because it's quite cold in New York City. But I imagine even if they're just chilling at home in like the Tampa Bay area, they're probably enjoying the weather a lot more than I am.
Hey, everybody will be in Florida soon. All right, Patrice, how about you?
Well, Bo also recently got married, so congrats to him and his fam. And I just hope that he has a great week. So I hope his good week is everybody's good week.
I hope so too. And I'm going to throw mine in for the week too, because my forever Pookie, Adley Rutschman, when this episode posts, it will be a couple days before his birthday. So Adley, have a happy birthday, and I hope you have an even better 2026. All right, well, this has been Glove Actually. I'm Melissa. Thanks so much for joining us today. Have a great week, Lovelies. And as always, be kind, keep it cute, and stay glovely.